Hey everyone, it's Fat Mascara.
Oh my God. It is Fat Mascara, a podcast about beauty culture.
It's Jessica.
I've forgotten how to host a podcast. I'm beside myself.
Beside yourself. You're verklempt.
I'm all the things.
Yeah, you're all the things.
Listen, did I say my name? I'm Jennifer Sullivan.
Yeah, you're the second Jennifer today, okay? You're secondary Jennifer.
I'm so far below the first Jennifer in this episode. Like,
you're
put
back
me on the
Jen.
other page of the credits. Like, it's fine.
Listen, it's the big one, okay? It's the big one. We've been working on this for a while. There's zero chill in the virtual studio today.
Yeah.
What do we have to say?
First of all, Jennifer Aniston's line, Lolavie, you've heard us talk about it for multiple years now. This is
an authentic endorsement.
I mean, we don't endorse anything we don't actually use, but this is like both of our favorite lines.
It is a daily staple. I think I said that I told her that, but like, it's a daily staple in the Matt Linjaneski house.
It is. All the products are great. Our intern uses them. My mom uses them. I use them. They're all wonderful. In case you don't know what we're talking about, Jennifer Aniston is the founder of Lolavie, a hairline she launched in 2021.
I love that she didn't put her name on it. I thought that was pretty cool.
She's so classy. That's just her. All the products are great. The one that you heard us both rave about is the glossing detangler that we both use daily. The shampoo, the conditioner. There's a pet shampoo. How much do you love that? Wolfgang loves it.
Super cute.
And this interview has been in the works for a while, but it just so happens it's dropping just as her newest Lolavie product is coming out. That would be one peptide plumping volume spray. We both got a preview. It's fab. The woman doesn't make a bad product. You spray it on damp hair before blow drying. It gives root volume with like a hold but no crunch. I found like when I did a blowout with it, the blowout lasts longer. You know, the roots just stay nice and plump and juicy. It's got heat protection. It's Leaping Bunny certified. How much do we love that?
I was a fan before. You know, I wanted this interview to go on for like 7 hours. I felt like they were going to give me the hook.
Okay, well, we're going to get into it, but in case you don't know who Jennifer Aniston is, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you if you don't know, but I will tell you her most recent projects. It's probably the morning show in which she plays morning TV anchor Alex Levy. Get yourself caught up because season 4 of that is coming soon. Her new product from Lolavie's out. I can't believe we get to say this, but everybody please welcome to the Fat Mascara virtual studio.
Stop. Chills, Jen, chills.
Ms. Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston, welcome to Fat Mascara. Hi.
Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for making it to FM. We are huge fans, as are our listeners. We've been hyping this episode for a while.
Well, secretly, because we weren't able to tell them it was you. But here you are. We didn't want to get anybody's hopes up. That's all.
Yeah.
So Jess and I were talking about you, hair, and we both shared let's go back to 1983 if you can. Jess and I shared a mullet haircut. We had the same mullet in 1983.
Yeah, we weren't like bikers. We were just like, had like that
that's
little
what our
cute...
moms gave us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cute little girls with mullets.
Yeah.
Think back to that time. I'm curious, what haircut did you have in 1983? And do you remember who cut it?
Okay, you know what? Actually, here's what happened. So I always had really long hair down to my bum, and my mom never let me cut it. And it was just like long, I had bangs and long hair. And she said, when you're 13 or 14 years old is when you can do whatever you want with your hair. And so I was like, awesome. So I went to Vidal Sassoon.
Oh, la la.
Where you went in the 80s. And I brought in a picture of Valerie Bertinelli. And somehow I did not get that haircut even a little bit. And I ended up with a mullet. So because it was feathered, it was super cute, but he ended, and I have really curly hair. So it was short around here and then long sort of in the back. And it was just a minor disaster. And that's when my mom sort of looked at me and said, well, it's all your fault.
When you finally had your own autonomy, you messed it up, little Jen.
Instantly. But it was really a fun experience.
But yeah, it feels good to be autonomous and kind of break away.
I'm curious at this point, like, okay, 13, 14, are you already in your head like, I'm going to be an actor?
Not really. I didn't know what the hell I was going to be. I think I did get the bug though when I was around 11 years old when I did my first school play, and then, my family was. My dad was on a soap opera. It was kind of. I always romanticized it, and I went to a Waldorf school where you weren't allowed to watch television, which was one of their rules. So it was sort of that thing you're not allowed to do, so you become obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember visiting my dad on set, and I kind of just got that bug. Oh wait, around 13, that's not true. Oh my gosh. Yes. So when I was 13, I remember going to visit my dad on set, and then I went into the green room and I called his agent, Bobby Berry, which is such a New York 80s name.
Bobby Berry.
Bobby Berry. And I asked him, because there was a part on the show my dad was on at the time called Search for Tomorrow. And I asked for an audition for the part of TR. And I got they allowed me the audition, unbeknownst to my father. And I auditioned and I didn't get it. And Jane Krakowski got the part.
Oh my gosh. Does she know that? Like, do you guys ever talk about that?
I don't know if she and I have ever talked about it one-on-one, but I know, I think I've told that story. So yeah, that was 13 years old. So I guess I knew around then. I did.
I hope it wasn't the haircut that lost you the part.
I do too. But I just found that, I actually just found that, this sounds morbid, but when my mom passed away, I was going through this trunk of all of her stuff and I found all of these huge film reels of things. And so I had them transferred into CD at the time, DVD. And there was that first audition that was sent over. And it wasn't a great haircut. Let me be very clear. But I don't think that's what I don't think that's why I lost it. I just don't think I was that great.
You weren't intimidated by the whole, I know you grew up around it because your father. Did it feel like wondrous or was it intimidating? Like, what was your?
Oh, I loved it. I was very comfortable. I wasn't overwhelmed. It felt very, very, very comfortable.
Now you are, and listen, to our audience and also to Jennifer, there's so many questions we want to ask you, but we have limited time. I'm just going to be throwing stuff at you. So you're known for like so many successes. Like you have Friends, which is like the biggest television show ever. Then you also are in movies, big smashes like Along Came Polly. But I don't feel like people talk about what an indie queen you are enough. Like some of my favorite movies are indie movies that you've been in. One of them is, I mean, we could go on and on and on. Like, hello, like I love Friends with Money, but we don't have enough time to talk about like every movie you've ever been.
So this is the movie she picks instead.
I know. No, but I want to talk about Dumplin' because we're a beauty podcast and I feel like Dumplin' was such a great movie that hit on so many themes. Like you play, for anyone who hasn't seen it, you play this former Texan beauty queen. She's in this pageant world and you have this overweight daughter who's Dumplin' and she like exists in this orbit with you. And it was very poignant. And I wanted to know, and because we talk about these themes on our show a lot, we do more than just like beauty reviews. What did you love about doing this film?
Oh my God. Besides everybody involved, my producing partner having written it, adapted it rather, Dolly Parton, the theme of it. The mother character reminded me very much of my own mother in that her bar was very high for what it meant to be beautiful, and perfect. And knowing the toll that can take on a kid, it doesn't feel that great. And so this was just the whole message of the film, which was, it doesn't matter what size you are, what color your hair is, how much makeup you wear. It's just your beauty is just who you are. And it all comes from within, which is something that I wish we had heard a lot more of when I was growing up. I'm sure other kids did, but my mom she had her own issues, I'm sure growing up, but she was so beautiful and a model. So I was always trying to kind of live up to her standards of beauty.
I think a lot of people relate to that. And I think there was some really great conversation around that movie when it came out. Do you get feedback about that movie a lot? Because I thought that was really powerful.
Oh, people love that movie. And they love Danielle McDonald and they love the whole, because it's sort of, I wish more people had actually seen Dumplin', it kind of slid under the radar there, but yeah, a lot of people do love that movie. And also Dolly was a part of it. That was the other incredible thing, was that we had Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
It was so much fun there was a night that she came over here and we were just talking about the movie and she was talking about the music. And I had my dog Dolly, my white shepherd at the time, meet Dolly.
Oh.
Ah,
It was a very special time.
Rosie was a good character. I'm curious, when you go into a project like that, do you get any say in what your character, like Rosie Dickinson or Dixon, what she's going to look like?
Oh, yeah. That's sort of the fun part of building the character is, where's her hair going to look like and what's her wardrobe and what her shoes are going to look like. All that part, that's the sort of fun part of building the character.
what's a fun detail you've done for one of your characters? Doesn't have to be Rosie, could be anyone, Rachel or Polly, anyone.
Oh my God, fun detail.
Like a fashion beauty.
Polly was based on my girlfriend, Daryl, who we always found to be our cute little adorable misfit. Not a misfit, but she was sort of we took her under our wing and she had that sort of Polly vibe, which was like, whatever, go with the flow. Detail. Oh, there's a fun detail about horrible bosses.
Oh, the dentist. What was her name?
So
Doctor?
many good-
Dr. Julia. And I
Yes.
wanted her to have, I had this idea that she had this like dark vixen-y look, like vixen hair. And the studio really was against me having wearing this wig. Because they said, we don't like this wig. We don't like it. It doesn't look like you. And I said, well, it's not me. Do you see what I have to say as this character? I wanted to just sort of disappear, and they said,
Yeah.
they won't know it. They won't know it's, this was a great quote. But we're just afraid they won't know it's Jennifer Aniston.
They're like, we want to get our money's worth for this casting, Jen.
Anyway, the first day, listen, I promise you, we'll shoot it. And if the first couple days of dailies, you'd hate it and it's awful and people watching it are like, who's that? Who's the brunette? Then we'll just reshoot it and I will, I'll contribute or whatever. And so it was literally the day before. And then sure enough, I shot the first few days and then I'll never forget the head of the studio came by a week or two came into the trailer with one of our producers just before I started shooting just to say hi. And then as we spoke for like 10, 15 minutes, and then as they were leaving, I said, hey, thanks for sticking with me on the hair choice. I really appreciate it. He had no idea what I was talking about. He said, that's not your hair?
Oh my God.
And the exec who was having a problem with me having the wig on was standing right next to him. And I said, yeah, it's not my hair. But anyway, I'm glad you knew it was me.
We still knew it was you. It was a good one. You kind of stand out in some of your roles. Another one, obviously, we have to talk about. And I did talk, by the way, with Chris about this before I came on the show, came on to do this interview, the Rachel cut. When you were cast in Friends, I'm like curious if the stories are going to align, but
Yeah.
who got a say in what Rachel Green was going to look like?
At that time, there was no say, really. None of the producers had a say, or we never even thought about it. It was just who we were. Schwimmer had the Schwimmer cut, LeBlanc had LeBlanc's hair, Maddie had Maddie's hair, Quartz, everyone was sort of, except for Phoebe, I guess, had a very specific sort of hippie vibe. But we were all like, whatever you want. But Chris was definitely, he didn't set that look. That was just a happy accident that I happened to get it. It was the second time I went to Chris to get a haircut. And that's when he gave me the Rachel. So the first, the pilot is a mini version of not quite the full Rachel. And then he chopped into it, not even thinking about continuity, or none of us even thought about continuity at that point.
Was it funny seeing so many little Rachel cuts walking around?
It was really strange. It's hard to put your head around that's sort of what was happening, because we also we were in a little bubble of a soundstage. We didn't have phones. We didn't have computers.
That's true.
We
Yeah.
didn't really know that. You didn't understand that it sort of spread like wildfire in that way. But it was sure fun and to be a part of that.
Now, outside of your, when they think of like your style, they might think of, oh yeah, she had the Rachel back then. But I think what a lot of people really respond to you, and people who are fans of you, is that they love your style and they love the consistency. They love the elegance. They love that they know what you're going to get. You don't have a history of fashion faux pas or crazy ups and downs. Like, they know what they're going to get. Have you always had like a singular vision about, okay, this is me and what I'm going to look like? Or is it just like a happy accident?
Just a happy accident. I don't put that much thought into it.
I think that's kind of what people relate to. Most people are not fashion people. Not that you're not a fashion person, Jennifer, but you know what I'm saying? You're not somebody who's a fashion victim or doing crazy things.
Because if I ever tried to follow a trend, it would be ridiculous. It would just look ridiculous. So I just sort of stay. I think I'm consistent, which you say very sweetly consistent, but also doesn't take risks or whatever. But I like to be comfortable.
I think that's most people.
Right? Most people do.
You've taken a risk here and there. You've done some shoots that are wild.
Yes.
But on the street, you're not like, oh my God, did you see?
No. I'm not wearing a mesh. I'm not wearing a chain link dress on the red carpet. No. I think the craziest thing I did look-wise on a carpet was I had this hairdresser at the time named John Sahag, who has since passed away, who basically gave me a sort of I would say dreadlocks on the carpet.
Yes.
That was an Emmy. I did that on the Emmys. I think it was 1999.
I think I remember this. Yeah. That was probably the biggest beauty risk then, right?
I would say so.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I think I lasted a good 4 days in those dreadlocks because they just got more and more dready as the days went on.
I think what is also interesting about your career is that you haven't jumped on a million different brand deals. You're not somebody who we've seen with one day with this cosmetics company and the next day doing this fashion deal. You've been really thoughtful about your product endorsements and certainly with coming out with your own line. Have you said no to a lot?
I have.
And yeah, what kind of things did you say no to?
It's just stuff that I didn't feel aligned with.
Yeah.
It's usually the products or the brands that I've teamed up with, usually it's come out of something very organic.
Yeah.
Where they've seen me, or it's a bottle of some water. Or
you did the water, yeah.
Did the water, or, the one hair care company that I was a part of. So, whether it's in any area that feels health and wellness, that feels aligned with me and organic to who I am, then otherwise I just feel like I'm a actor for hire and here's my product that I don't really use.
Do you remember the first time you were brought one of these opportunities?
Yeah.
In your career?
To be a brand.
Just have an endorsement. Where you're like, oh my God, they want me to endorse the thing?
Doing a L'Oreal hair commercial for a couple times. That felt like
Was that one of the first things you were offered?
I believe so.
That's big time, yeah.
And I felt that was pretty fancy and that I had arrived when I was doing a L'Oreal hair commercial. And they do those slow-mo shots of doing the hair and it's just perfectly shiny. They're not as easy as they look. They're really doing it. But yeah, that was sort of the first.
They're not a few hours and you go home?
No.
Oh. And then they send you a big check?
Well, not really, but that was, I think, the first brand that I remember part of.
So, yeah, you've had decades of being in the spotlight, and then you come out with your own line. Tell us about what that trajectory was like, because it was clear that was a very thoughtful decision. A lot of your peers have come out with their own lines 10 years ago more.
Well, it was sort of an obvious direction to sort of head into. And I was, like I said, I was a part of that other hair care company for a while, and I was very involved in that one and really got excited about the involvement and the also development of the product, sort of going behind the scenes and what they were promoting. I really loved, and I felt excited by that. So that sort of planted the seed of because I've always been mixing products to try to create something, whether it was a paste and a serum to try to make a sort of certain texture of something, or try to find the perfect leave-in conditioner that didn't have tons of bad chemicals in it or sulfites or silicones that would just eventually break your hair. So I got the bug from being a part of that company. And then when they sold, I was approached by my current partner, Joel Ronkin, and he said, why don't we start developing something? You and we can do it. And I got so excited and I said, why not? So we gathered a little team together, talked about what our hopes, dreams, and wishes were for what the product was and would be. And then we were off and running, and it was so much fun. It's to get in there and try to find the ingredients and yet that are pure and organic and healthy for your hair, but also the efficacy is there and the product does what it says. So we worked on it for a good couple of years before we launched our first product. It took about 3 or 4 years, I think, before we launched the first one.
When you were developing it, I thought of this question in the shower while I was using your shampoo, actually. What was the brief you gave your team about what you wanted it to smell like? I was like, where did the inspiration for this come from?
That was hard because, of course, you go, I want it to smell like this meets this. So I've had candles, I had serums, I had body lotions, and I would mix them all together. And then I was like, oh, that's too much fragrance. It's too much fragrance. Because you just wanted it to be clean.
Okay, clean.
Fresh, ocean breezy, dare I say, or not, but so many people hate a product that's too fragrant. Some want at least a little bit. So it was a really hard, we had spent quite a long time nailing our fragrance, which I think we've nailed. It's not too aggressive. There's a hint of citrus, it just feels clean and fresh.
Jen and I are into it. We love it.
I feel like I'm ready to sort of branch out, though, and bring in some other fragrances, though. I think I love our fragrance, but I think we're kind of toying around with bringing in some other.
You can ask Courtney. She does a good fragrance too, maybe like a
Sure does.
Those things smell good.
Come here. Excuse me. There's
Hi, baby.
and we have Clyde.
Mine's being good. He has your bone.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute.
My Wolfgang has your bone. He has his Lolavie bone in honor. Yes, his little squeaker.
They just had their bath. They're so.
Do they smell good?
They smell like It's just delicious, by the way.
The pet shampoo is so great.
It is so great, and it's so their coat is so soft, and their skin they don't itch. I mean, it's kind of. I'm really proud of that. I really am. I love it so much.
Would you say that's what you're proudest of? Like, what Lolavie product are you proudest of?
Oh, that's so hard. It's like, who's your favorite kid? I mean, I'd have to say, the glossing detangler, which was our first one, that's been so loved. And we worked so hard getting that just perfect. And that has generated more love. I mean, also the hair paste, but that one was our winner. It was sort of an out the gate, real great product.
That's a product you buy over and over again.
Over and over and over again. And a lot of my friends who are parents, just the bath time for them, which is usually torture, to get a brush through the hair for their children's hair. And this is like changed their lives. It's almost, they're more excited about their kids' bath time than they are about their own hair.
Jennifer, my daughter, goes and gets it herself now. She goes, she runs and she goes like, I get the detangler. So
Stop it.
Yeah, so that's what she thinks detangler is. I don't think she knows there are other brands. So you've got
detangler. Yeah.
No, we love it. We love it. So when you tell us about your kind of your showering routine, your hair care routine, do you take an everything shower? Are you a minimalist? What is your bathroom like?
Oh boy. My bathroom, well, there's the everything shower. That's sort of the day of the week where you go top to bottom and you do a hair mask, the shampoo.
You're scrubbing.
The scalp shampoo, which I'm obsessed with. That has been a really great new product. I use the scalp shampoo, and then I will do the intensive weekly treatment that we have, the mask, and then that's when you let that sit in there, and then you do all your other kibbles and bits, a nice little shaving here and there, a little pumice stone, a little moisturizer, a little steam, so it really sets in. And then I usually tie it up in the leave-in for a good couple of hours and then either sleep in it sometimes or to wash it out later that night. But I do like to keep it simple because we got a lot to do.
Yeah.
That's my Sunday. That's Spa Sunday.
Does it feel serene in your shower? Or are you like products everywhere, things to do?
Serene, very clean.
Okay, that's what I
love. Yeah, I pictured that.
Very black and white, literally.
I'm curious when things go wrong with the hair, which they don't because we're all using Lolavie, but if they do, is the cut the answer?
That depends who's cutting it.
So the reason I ask this is because that's what Chris said, because he was like, oh, summer of 2024, I gave Jen that bob and then it grew like weeds. He was like, the cut made it grow. He's convinced.
He is convinced and he needs to say that and he's right. No, but it was, I had gone to and had a unfortunate experience where I went rogue out of town to get my hair colored, and I just sort of had some damage, let's just say.
We've all been
So
there.
he went and just gave me a good old chop. And every time he does, it's not my favorite, but it does help. It does allow our hair to kind of kick back into a good, just takes all that crap away and your hair does grow. But then I also remember I was starting morning show season 4, I think, and I got extensions. So the extreme growth sort of had assistance in that.
Plus, we need the continuity.
Yeah.
Of course.
Now, I always think of you as like somebody who is about wellness before wellness was like hot and trendy. You know, I remember like reading about the salad that you all ate from friends, and you've always been like,
Very unhealthy salad, by the way.
was it?
It was just like, it was iceberg lettuce, garbanzo beans, chicken, turkey bacon, and a shitload of pepperoni cheese.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, in like the 90s, it was like I wasn't eating any salad. So like I rarely saw a vegetable. So to me, I was like, they're so healthy. That's why they look so great. So,
My mom, that was my mom. Yeah.
yeah. It gets in, right? The stuff seeps in.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised a homeopathic kid, and oat breads and like spelt breads, and everything was grains and lecithin and sprouts.
What's lecithin?
I have no idea.
But all of those.
Get the word. It was some sort of a powder that she would put on top of
This
all
means
of
you're
my...
authentically healthy and into wellness.
I think
It was sort of by accident. And then
yeah.
I think it was also, I wanted to be, again, it started from the place of my mom being very on top of me,
Yeah.
you know, about things.
Yeah.
And I just sort of went on that journey of like, how do I stay healthy and keep my skin? My mom was obsessed with skin, so I was always washing my face. She was the first person to stick an eye cream in my hand. Who even knew, at 12 years old? Like a 12-year-old.
Well, now, I mean, do you have a perspective on what's going on now with like 12-year-old?
I can't even understand
But
now.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way too young to start way too many things.
I know we're running out of time here. Before we go, I did want to ask you about we have our Fat Mascara 5 as a speed round, but I'm just curious, what's the last thing you actually bought on your credit card that was a beauty or wellness product? Not a gift bag, Jen, not a like...
I know what this is. A makeup brush cleaner.
Oh, which one?
I don't know. I saw it on Instagram.
So you're sitting there
They're
buying
just like
stuff
us.
on Instagram? I love it. That's so funny.
It was a container cylinder, and it had, you put your brushes in, and then it sort of automatically cleans your brushes.
Oh.
We'll see though, the algorithm on my phone of Instagram, it's like, it's as if I turn it, I'll go to, and I've had to put it onto my 4th page so I don't look, which is, by the way, pro tip, put your Instagram on your 3rd or 4th page, you barely go to it.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
Yeah. But I kind of do really well. It sees me coming, and it just starts to send me all things. Like
all the goodies.
I do really well, though. I've got to say, I kind of do luck out on on my purchases.
All right, we'll check back in about the makeup brushes. Yeah.
All right, let's do Fat Mascara 5, right?
Jess, go ahead.
Okay. All right. What's the first beauty product you fell in love with?
Oh my gosh, okay.
You don't have to. It's not that speedy of a round.
Yeah. She's got her hands up like she's been like you're under arrest.
It was probably Maybelline, or it was a Weleda. It was a Weleda face cream that my mom used.
The skin food?
So, yeah, I mean, it's been around forever. It was yellowish.
Yellowish. Okay. We're gonna look it up. But you liked it?
Weleda face cream, yeah.
Okay.
Because it smelled so good. I had no idea what it was doing for me, but it just smelled good.
Maybe that can inspire one of the new Lolavie scents.
Yes, maybe.
Maybe.
I like that.
Thank you. Okay, what do you think Rachel Green would have loved? What beauty product Rachel Green would have been using?
It's probably the same thing I would be. Oh God, what would her favorite first beauty product be?
Or what would she carry around like in
I
her
would imagine
purse?
maybe she was a hair mousse.
That's a good answer.
Hair mousse of some sort.
Okay, what's the last note on your notes app?
Oh, literally last night it was notes on the current episode that we're working on. We're in post-production on morning show, so it was giving notes on one of our episodes.
Oh, that's hard work. This is
fun work, though. Yeah. This is the fun part.
Fun but hard.
I love the post.
You like post-production better than filming?
it's a different kind of fun, you know? I mean, the filming of it is the like meat and potatoes and the sort of footwork and the emotional work. And then the post-production is the fun of putting all the beautiful pieces together and watching it come to life. It's you know, from start to finish, it's just a really satisfying experience.
So cool. What's your favorite snack?
Oh, skinny popcorn.
Oh, yeah, well, you get a second snack?
What goes with the skinny pup? Yeah.
There's these pretzels they're like burnt pretzels. You know the Greenwich Hotel in
Special
New York City?
Darks?
I'm not sure what they're called, but they're just burnt. Every once in a while you have a craving because I went to this hotel and in the mini bar there was this bag of practically burnt pretzels.
That's at the Greenwich Hotel? They're burnt?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I also like burnt things. Like I like burnt popcorn. I like burnt toast. I'm sure that's going to harm me somewhere. This health and wellness is going to harm me somewhere down. But anyway.
Okay, and last question. If it's 11 a.m. on your day off, what can we find you doing?
Absolutely nothing.
You're just sitting on that couch.
Dogs in bed.
With those dogs, or I'm out with those dogs, or I'm finally getting to read something that I haven't had a chance to read, which is almost never. Yeah.
Nice.
Relaxing.
Yeah. Relaxing.
Jennifer Aniston, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Fat Mascara. It was so fun hanging out with you.
I love you girls so much. You're so fun. And thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us, or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Raise the One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.